and how well you can find boundaries of thinking for scientific thinking. And we also saw in previous editions about the relation between the day of resurrection and the verses that gives scientific notations.
Yes.
So is there a direct relation in every verse that gives scientific notations to the day of resurrection?
Yes, yes. You see, the fact that, look for example at the sun. It has been established that the sun is losing every second in the form of energy a mass equal to 4.6 million tons. And if you see this going on in the sun every second, 4.6 million tons are wasted, are lost. This means that this sun is not eternal. It has to come to an end.
Yes. Okay.
You see, if you see, for example, the moon is drifting towards the sun at the rate of 3 to 4 centimeters per year. This means that a moment will come when the sun will swallow the moon.
Yes.
And if the sun swallows the moon, this will be the beginning of the collapse of the universe. See, and so on. So there are direct relationships between scientific notions of the Qur'an and many, many signs of the last hour.
Okay. That's beautiful. Let's move to Abdurrahman's questions.
If the sun consists, or if the stars in general consist of gases like helium, when they die, they turn into a dense mass, right or wrong? If they turn into a dense mass, how was that mass formed? I mean, they were gas in the beginning. How did they turn into a mass of dense material?
Again, you see a sign of the unity of the Creator, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is showing us that out of hydrogen, the lightest known element and the simplest known element, Allah is creating more than 105 known elements to us. More than 100 elements. The origin of them all is hydrogen, pointing to the unity of the Creator. You see, and I always remind my students and friends like yours that the fact that the whole universe is built on one norm, on one law, the structure of the atom is similar to the structure of the living cell, the structure of the solar system, the structure of the galaxy, the structure of anything. You go from the simpler to the greater, you find unity in the construction of the universe, and this unity points to the unity of the Creator. Allah is creating everything out of hydrogen. It points to the unity of the Creator, and so on.
I have a question that might be irrelevant to the topic of this verse.
Yes.
If I'm to argue with someone and I want to use science as a proof of the truthfulness of Qur'an.
Yes.
What kind of science, or what kind of how can I make a difference between what is theory and what is fact? I mean, maybe I can read, but how about people, the normal viewers? How can
That's why I say one of the controls of our dealing with this topic, Quran and science, or scientific imitability of the Quran. I have to differentiate between the one who verifies the verse scientifically, who is a specialist in the field, and who is an authority, and I can take his word for its value, and someone who is quoting him. I have to differentiate between the two.
Yes.
If, for example, a chemist has verified a certain chemical statement in the Quran, I have to quote him. I don't say that I know this fact. No, I have to quote him. And we have to differentiate between whoever has verified a Quranic statement, who should be a specialist in the field, well known for his eminence in that field, and the people who quote him or repeat his words, you see.
Thank you. Okay, any further questions from Muhammad or Abdurrahman?
Thank you.
Okay, moving back to the verse itself and the point that we have mentioned before the last break about the energy, and that the scientists are now trying to find a form of maybe implementing the same way to have an energy that's benefiting human. So is this something that the scientists are now on track, that
Yes,
you believe that
yes.
they're getting some results out of it?
Definitely. Science is advancing at a fantastic rate these days. But sadly enough, the deprivation of the scientific activity from moral commitment has led to lots of miseries and lots of disadvantages, you see. If a scientist is morally committed, he will never involve himself in something that would harm humanity. But, for example, you see, we know that we are looking for solar energy. We are looking for wind energy. We are looking for water energy. We are looking for geothermal energy, which is a cheap, clean, renewable energy that does not harm anybody.
Yes.
We are looking for energy from the combination or nuclear fusion of light elements into heavier elements. But of course, this is taking place at very high temperatures, and they are trying to find a way to get it done at lower temperatures. If we succeed, this will be great.
But we hear always there's a problem of this nuclear fusion. Of people are thinking it of a friendly way, and others are thinking of to be used at wars.
Yeah, it could be destructive, you see. But I'm sure its advantages are enormous. For example, you see, we now know that pollution is harming humanity. And we have many alternative solutions for the pollutants. But the industrial countries refuse to commit themselves to any international agreement, you see. And because of this, we are destroying our environment with our own hands, because there is no moral commitment. There is scientific advancement without moral commitment, without religious commitment, without fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why the Quran says, ظهر الفساد في البر بما كسبت أيدي الناس ليذيقهم بعض الذي عملوا لعلهم يرجعون. Pollution and destruction and every bad thing is appearing now both on land and in the sea. And you say land and sea, it includes the atmosphere on top of the land and on the sea, polluting every environment. And Allah is leaving people to their own mistakes as a form of punishment. You see, probably they will come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay.
But we are suffering from the fantastic scientific development without moral commitment and without religious commitment.
Okay, before we end this episode, we would like to have from you the last one statement message from this verse to our viewers.
You see, this message comes towards the end. Say, لعلهم بلقاء ربهم لعلكم بلقاء ربكم توقنون. So that you people may believe that the day will come when you go back to your Lord for judgment and for reward or punishment. If any human being keeps this in mind, he can never go wrong, you see.
Yes.
So Allah is telling us, look into yourselves, look into the universe around yourselves, so that you can be assured that time will come when you go back to your Creator, when He will hold you accountable for everything you did in this life, in your life on earth. Every word you uttered, every penny you earned, every action you took, you see. And if one keeps this in mind, I assure you that he will behave properly and will never go in a wrong way.
Okay. Professor Zaghlol El-Naggar, thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to have you here with us at Huda TV.
Barakallah fiik.
Okay, my dear guests, Abdurrahman and Muhammad Saif, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And with this, my dear viewers, thank you very much for joining us, and see you in the coming edition. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.